Let's listen to John McCain. You know, remember Senator McCain, the senior senator from Arizona who ran for president, who was open to just about any kind of a talk when he was a candidate for president, which actually hurt his election. We'll talk a little bit about how the Republicans have really come together since then. I do think that when you listen to Senator McCain here talk about the sort of the way that Republicans look at taxes, the way they are this sort of sacred cow to them, that they think that's going to be their way out, no matter what. And even if you have the president, even if you have Democrats talking about millionaires and billionaires and corporate jets, they're just going to continue down this road if we won't raise taxes. However, you must cut spending. It just doesn't make sense. It is what could get you into more trouble with the budget. Everybody knows that. Let's listen to John McCain talk about the sort of unanimity this Republican Party feels when it's coming from one of these people who talks about compromise, criticized as a candidate for president, criticized the way that the Congress could not work with the White House. Let's listen to John McCain. This is clip 1.
Would you, in the spirit of compromise, would you, Senator John McCain, not speaking for the Republican Party, could you see your way clear to voting for some sort of tax increase, whether it's closing a loophole of oil companies or charging those who have private jets? What would be so wrong with that?
Well, I think that if we did those small things you're talking about, they would have very small impact. But the principle of not raising taxes is something that we campaigned on last November. And the results of the election was that the American people didn't want their taxes raised, and they wanted us to cut spending.
But what about compromise?
I would argue that if we do otherwise, well, you know, the American people, as the president described it, administered or shellacking, they don't want compromise. They want us to balance the budget. They want us to stop mortgaging our children and our grandchildren's futures, and they don't think that they need their taxes raised, and I don't either.
Could you share with us what sort of revenue raisers might be okay with you?
No.
You're no fun.
You're no fun, and you have no idea either, Senator McCain. I love when he says the American people don't want compromise, as if he knows exactly what the American people want. He's a man who got drubbed for the presidency, and he somehow all of a sudden has his finger on the pulse of what America wants. It's shocking to me. He also says, I love how I think Candy Crowley actually is a good political reporter. She knows so many people in politics. She asks good questions. She's been on the beat for a very long time. But when she asked John McCain if he could answer a question, as John McCain, as Senator McCain, not speaking for the Republican Party, that does not exist anymore. Every time a Republican speaks, they're speaking for the party because they work as a team. There was a great piece July 4th in the Washington Post. Richard Cohen, an op-ed piece or an opinion piece from Richard Cohen, it's entitled "A Grand Old Cult." This is what Richard Cohen has to say. Someone ought to study the Republican Party. I'm not referring to yet another political scientist, but to a mental health professional, preferably a specialist in the power of fixations, obsessions, and the like. The GOP needs an intervention. It has become a cult. So when Candy Crowley asked John McCain to speak as Senator McCain and not as a Republican, that is impossible to do anymore. They go lockstep with one another. They all sign the exact same pledges. They all feel as if in order to govern, to be elected, and to stay elected, they have to do the exact same things. To become a Republican, Cohen continues, one has to take a pledge. This is what we were talking about before. It is not enough to support the party or mouth banalities about Ronald Reagan. One has to promise not to give the government another nickel. This is called the Taxpayer Protection Pledge, issued by Americans for Tax Reform, an organization headed by the chirpy Grover Norquist. He once labeled the argument that an estate tax would affect only the very rich, the morality, quote, the morality of the Holocaust. Anyone can see how singling out the filthy rich and the immensely powerful and asking them to ante up is pretty much the same as Auschwitz and that sort of thing. It's, you know, when you talk to Republicans now, you cannot get an honest answer about what they themselves feel. That's where Candy Crowley is flawed. And because these Republicans don't know. Do you really believe that John McCain thinks that the Americans don't want compromise? It's impossible to believe that Americans don't want compromise. They're sent, senators are Republicans and Democrats, they're sent to what is, quote unquote, the greatest deliberative body in the world, What are they sent there to do? To compromise, to get as much from their side without giving up as much as they have to. But giving up as much as they have to is what has to happen here.